The current model of development began in the wake of World War II and the end of colonialism. Many believe that one of the causes of the war was the catastrophic economic condition in Europe in the 1930s. As the war came to an end, leading economists and delegates from around the world met in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, to create organizations that would help stabilize the international economic system. They formed GATT, the General Agreements on Tariffs and Trade, later to become the WTO, the International Monetary Fund, or IMF, and the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, known as the World Bank. The goal of the World Bank was originally to help rebuild war-torn Europe, but this role was soon taken over by the Marshall Plan.
In Washington, George C. Marshall made known the principles of the plan that was later to bear his name.
There's no doubt whatever in my mind that if we decide to do this thing, we can do it successfully.
Later, President Truman drove to the Capitol to put the Marshall Plan for European aid before Congress.
I'm here today to report to you on the critical nature of the situation in Europe and to recommend action for your consideration.
As Europe's war-torn economies began to turn around, many credited the Marshall Plan as playing a key role in jump-starting their growth, and this approach of providing foreign aid became the model for helping the developing world as well. The idea was that if you could build up infrastructure, electricity, and education, it would spark the process of economic development, and countries could make the leap into industrialism. The World Bank found its new mission promoting development in Africa, Asia, and Latin America.
Today, the Board of Governors of the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development and the International Monetary Fund meet for the first time on the continent of Africa.
Foreign aid, or what's called official development assistance, consists of government-to-government transfers and can take the form of grants or loans. Tax dollars go to governments and international organizations, which transfer funds to governments in the developing world for things like food, infrastructure, and healthcare. The aid may include contingencies requiring recipient countries to implement policies the donor countries deem beneficial. Over time, as foreign aid has expanded, consultants, non-governmental organizations, and charities also receive aid money from governments to implement projects, and will often contract with additional charities and NGOs. Catholic Relief Services receives over 70% of its budget from government money, while in 2012, World Vision received close to $175 million, and the international development firm Chemonix more than $500 million in government contracts. A recent drive for increased foreign aid is the United Nations Millennium Development Goals, with the aim of eradicating extreme poverty by the year 2015. With over 400 proposed interventions, the goals have been endorsed by government leaders, promoted by celebrities, and thousands of charities and universities have signed on. Foreign aid has become the cornerstone for the West's engagement with what became known as the Third World.